Welcome to Audible Interlude, a G.I. Joe podcast. I'm your host, Dave West, codename Phantom Troublemaker.
And I am your co-host, Noel Wood, codename Crapshoot.
And I'm your Cobra intern who did not realize that Iceberg was old enough to have sank the Titanic? Codename Legion Cub. In other words, it's cold in Florida, folks.
Yeah, that's what. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about flurries being in the air, and they were afraid it was ash coming down from a volcano because that seemed more likely. Follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. Click that follow button. Be sure you subscribe and leave us a 5-star review. And also, this is the best way to support the show. Share the show, whether you're listening to the audio version, watching us on the Needless Things YouTube channel, or just sharing a post from Instagram or whatever. Share the show. Tell your friends about it. It's the only way we can grow. We need your help to do it. Speaking of which, if you are watching us live now on the Needless Things YouTube channel, you can support us in the super chat. Anything that comes in during the shows goes back into production, hosting, materials, whatever else. It all goes back into the show. We are not going to be placing any pre-orders in February using our super chat money. On Instagram, follow us at Audible Interlude Podcast. While you're there, check out the pinned stories and get yourself some Audible Interlude merchandise. We've got shirts and hats and shorts and coasters and posters and bags. You can get yourself a nice tote. Guess what? You don't even have to watch PBS for 8 hours and donate $60 to get yourself a tote bag. You can go to TeePublic right now and get yourself an Audible Interlude tote bag for however much they cost, which I assure you is much less than $60. What a bargain. Go do it. All kinds of different stuff. And if we see you wearing our merch at a live event, you will get yourself a little bit of exclusive swag. We also have a Facebook group, the Audible Army Facebook group, which I do not have pulled up right now. I'll put the link in there a little bit later. The quickest way to get in is shoot us an email or shoot us your email address, the Audible Interlude Podcast Instagram account. We've had some issues with getting people in. There's actually somebody's out there still waiting, and I have no idea what to do because there's no such thing as like Facebook customer service. So every once in a while, the link doesn't work, and we'll keep trying until we get you in there. But we do polls and stuff in there, news. It's a fun environment for Joe fans. Relatively troll free. You are watching us live on the Needless Things YouTube channel. If it's Monday night, you can catch all kinds of different toy reviews there. My review of Mara, and I have to apologize because I am absolutely positive that I have referred to her as Mara. It is entirely possible all three of us might have referred to her as Mara at different times.
I'm pretty sure I've always said Mara, but
have you? Okay. I know there's no way. With all of the different oceanic mer-oriented characters, there's no way I haven't said Mara at some point.
I think
but anyway.
I probably refer to her as the other woman.
But my review of the Reaction Plus Mara finally goes up tomorrow. I had other plans, but the weather delayed 3 different deliveries that I've got coming in. But that's okay because I've still got a pile of stuff that needs to be reviewed, including those Reaction Plus figures. But check out the Needless Things YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, share. Schedule-wise, our review of G.I. Joe number 18 is available wherever you get your podcasts. The first appearance of Roadblock, the first non-appearance of Noel, as far as a comic review goes.
No, it was another one like a month ago.
During the Dreadnought War.
Was there? Okay, I remembered there being one where you weren't going to be here, and then we realized, like, oh, wait, we can record this on Thursday.
Yeah. I think that was my last trip to Southern California.
Okay, yeah. Once again, that's just for you, Noel, and your difficult life traveling. I feel so bad for you. Yeah, actually, we'll share that. So you sent us a message. You were out in San Diego, and you sent us a message about how, this has messed up my plans because the Super 7 store is closed or gone or whatever. Oh, I just laughed and laughed.
But yeah, like I just apparently missed it. The message on I think Instagram's was like December 31st.
Oh yeah, they've been talking about it for months. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And schedule wise, so G.I. Joe number 18, which is Noel free, still pretty good, not as good as it could have been though. And the Audible Rumble, also minus Noel, but with Chris Scott from Grindhouse Toys taking over the co-hosting duties, and it is the most insane Rumble yet.
I can't remember who I was telling, because this week has been kind of a blur, but I said it is the G.I. Joe equivalent of the Ultimate Showdown of Ultimate Destiny. Like, it just left wrestling and became this anything goes martial arts wrestling. Yeah.
I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet.
Dies. Spoiler, everybody dies.
I haven't got a chance to listen to it yet. I imagine it was probably better than both of the actual Royal Rumbles that happened over this past weekend put together.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, that's a low bar.
Making that claim, right?
But
I don't know. I enjoyed the women's Rumble. It was just too long, and the winner was not particularly satisfying. But like the Rumble itself, or the women's Rumble itself, I thought was like really entertaining. They could have cut about 20 minutes off of it and had a different winner. And I like.
Yeah, it was Morgan, like, why is it an hour and a half into this show and we're still into the first match?
Crazy. Anyway, and so check out the Audible Rumble, which, by the way, so crazy that for the first time, I put it on YouTube. Normally, we don't do that with the audio episodes. But I just felt like it needed to go up there. So you can check out the video or the audio version of the Audible Rumble from last week. And then finally, our next live stream is February the 16th. So put it on your calendars. And it's worth mentioning that Toy Fair will be underway. So we will have all of the G.I. Joe related news and adjacent from Toy Fair on that live stream. And then a couple days later, probably a live stream, but I'm not positive. I'm waiting to hear back on something. But we'll be doing a Needless Things Toy Fair recap for all of the not G.I. Joe's. Well, not all of, for our favorite of the not G.I. Joe stuff. So Needless Things YouTube channel. Check it out. We have a lot of fun here. So I don't have anything like follow-up wise as far as stuff we've discussed recently, or I mean, there haven't been any pre-orders, and there's not really anything that we need to go back and take a look at. So I think we can get straight into the news. And it when it rains, it pours. It never fails when we're looking at like, okay, we're going to have hopefully G.I. Joe Day stuff, because we didn't know until Sunday when Hasbro put it up on Instagram whether or not they were going to do anything for G.I. Joe Day. And then they did, and they had a ton of reveals. And then, of course, we've got updates from Callsign Longbow and Skeletron and this and that. Now we're loaded with news. So let's go ahead and get to it. All right. Actually, this is how unsure we were that we would have any news to talk about. Because I have to send out show notes before the weekend, because I want you guys to have a heads up of what we're going to talk about and whatever else. So at the time when I sent this, the only bullet point we had was staring contest.
I was.
When I got the email, I had to actually just Google something real quick just to make sure that there wasn't some thing that was out there in the news called staring contest. I quickly figured out what the reference was.
There's no news. All right, but we got lots of news. So first we're going to start with this. And we don't often talk about I mean, this is beyond third party. This is literally just a guy on Etsy. But every once in a while, there's something there that catches my eye, like that G.I. Joe ATV thing that I got last year. And I figure we need to talk about this, if only for our pal Tom Henry. Have you guys seen this 3D printed classified Fang?
No, and that looks really good. Like, that is the closest to a Fang I've seen of any 3D printed or even third-party stuff.
I like the blue. I like the color variations. And then you can see here Cobra Commander in there. So the fit is solid for the figures. But when you zoom into it, you can see that 3D printed texture on it, which I know some people that's fine. For me, I can't do it. But it's $79.99. So if you need a placeholder Fang, that's for this kind of thing.
What it'll cost like this when it comes out for classified. So that's actually, I think, a really good deal.
So that is Greebler Elf, which is a pretty clever name. On Etsy, Greebler Elf. You know what? I should probably have kept that link to put it in the comments here. It never even occurred to me. Oh, you know what else? Ooh, hang on. Oh, where'd my QR code go? Oh, boo, StreamYard, boo. I had a QR code uploaded that we can throw up in the corner of the screen. And I don't know where it went. But that's okay. All right, so there is the Fang, classified scale Fang by Greebler Elf. I like the blue also.
Yeah, it's surprising that because they've done a couple of Fangs throughout the years. Surprising they never did one in blue.
Okay, they did the Dreadnought Fang.
Did they do one in the 25th line? Or
I mean, they did a Fang, but I don't think they did anything other than black.
Yeah.
I could absolutely be wrong about that, but it does seem the Walmart crazy. One. Well, let's not talk about that.
And that was not blue, even though it made us blue.
Solid. Yeah, it is kind of crazy that they haven't done like Crimson Fang, Arctic Fang, but I don't believe there's anything other. And tell us in the comments, please. I don't believe there's anything other than the Dreadnought in the black. Interesting. Although, you know what? I've got to bring up the Facebook group because I really like this comment. As often happens in the Audible Army Facebook group, a little speculation, a little conversation came up, and somebody made a comment about a Fang. They get talked about a lot. Man, I don't remember what it was under, but I said, why not the Flock of Fangs 12-pack? Python Patrol Fang, a Crimson Fang. Why not a Sky Patrol Fang? Just do it up. 12 Fangs for, I think it was $7.99.99 is the number I threw out there. Oh, here it is. Wreckship said, why not 2 Fangs? And I said, why stop at 2? Hasbro, Pulse, HasLab, and the G.I. Joe Classified team are proud to present, after years of fan demand, the Flock of Fangs. That's right, a dozen Fangs in every colorway you could want. Crimson Fang, Python Patrol Fang, Tiger Fang, Sky Patrol Fang, and so much more. All of this can be yours for the low, low price of $9.99.99. Place your pre-order today. That's right. I originally was going to do $7.99.99, and then I realized, no, we're in 2026, pal. Tariffs. This is going to be $1,000 worth of Fangs.
Grando Fang.
But yeah, very surprising that maybe not in a box set, but over the years we haven't seen more Fang colors. All right, moving on. Let me put my notes back where they belong. Oh, hey, you know what I'm going to do while I'm here in the Audible Army Facebook group? I am going to put the link in the chat. So if you're watching us live, the link to the Facebook group is going in the chat right now. And there you go. All right.
Ooh.
Let's get back on task here. Call sign Longbow, one of our long-awaited O-ring projects. They've got an update, of course, for the end of January. They have a new production timeline. And as you're looking at on the screen, if you're watching us live, this month they have the proof card for GRU Spetsnaz to share. As they covered in previous months, these proof cards are used to make sure the cards are the correct size, colors, and layouts. So this has actually been like Word Burglar actually had some proof cards that were bonuses for an album pre-order, like these kinds of things. I've got one of these. They made them for the Cobra Warlord for Joe Fest last year, so that they're neat as just a standalone item. But it's cool to see the process of what this card is going to look like, and it's bringing the vibes, it's bringing the nostalgia. So they met with their factory project manager this week, and he shared an updated estimated timeline for production on the latest round of figures. These dates are, of course, estimates provided by the factory. The original estimates where we would have these, 3 years ago or something. So, we would know how this stuff goes. We've talked enough creators on the Needless Things podcast now to understand that back and forth with the factory is... It's tough. It's serious stuff. So Lancer and Krasny Ninja final samples should be available around the end of March. If those are approved with no major issues, production would likely commence in April on these two figures. Uptown, Volk, Outlaw, and GRU Spetsnaz. Additional modifications are being worked on at the model shop. If things proceed smoothly, production is expected sometime in June or July for these four. And then the remaining items, which are the Henchman, the Adapt Trooper, Steel Web Shock Trooper, MTF Retro Ops, and Resupply Pack. Their project manager has already communicated the corrections for these figures to the model shop so that they match the modifications made to the others. If all goes as planned, tooling on these figures would begin in late summer, early fall. And that's quite a timeline, but I gotta imagine it's kind of crushing to the Grindstone folks to have to report, we'll have an update this time next year on those last 5 items or 4 items. No, 5 items. 5 items. That's got to be rough. But also, we've met all these people. You can talk to them all at Joe Fest, Joe Lanta, these conventions. You can shoot them a message on Instagram. They're good people working really hard on this stuff. It's very close to their hearts, and for them to have kept the passion for these projects going for this amount of time, it's just going to make the end product so worthwhile. Speaking of timelines, take a look at that Skeletron. Woo!
Yeah.
So, Kristian, when you first saw this, what was your reaction?
Just like now, I'm speechless.
It has such not quite a 70s vibe, but a throwback vibe to it. Like, it looks like something that would be on the cover of like a War Tales of Terror magazine.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just such a great, unique look, and obviously, inspiration for it beyond the original figure. There's all kinds of pop culture things you can see here, but at the same time, it feels like an original creation. I can't wait to get it in here.
Yeah, I get a bit of a Terminator skeleton meme from it as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so they've been in communication with the factory over the last month and shared some information that is of interest as they push for completion of the 4-inch and 6-inch Skeletron figures. And that's something worth remembering, is that this is coming in 2 different scales, similar to the Wolf Troopers The factory will be relocating to a much larger facility in the spring. The factory has hired additional tooling expertise, and a very positive impact has already been experienced with tooling speed, quality, and overall success. While a larger manufacturing facility will certainly be helpful to all the toy makers who share use of this facility or this factory, the tooling process itself has easily been the most significant and continuous bottleneck over the course of this project. And we know, again, from talking to all these creators, we know that because a lot of these guys are using that same factory. The fact that they're upgrading, they're going to have a larger facility, be able to work on more things. Very exciting. It means we're going to see a lot of this stuff really start getting more efficient. Taking the upcoming Chinese New Year shutdown, the pending factory move, and the tooling improvements all under consideration, we've been provided a schedule that places fulfillment of both the 6-inch and 4-inch Skeletron figures into third quarter of this year. As you well know, providing accurate product delivery estimates has been the most difficult part of this campaign, and we will continue to be transparent with the information we are provided. And that's to their credit. They all have been very transparent about the process. So, on the one hand, it's a little disappointing that we've got, quite a few more months to wait before we get this or these Skeletron figures in hand. But at the same time, it will be worth the wait. And I kind of like this stuff being spread out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that I got to savor each portion of the Robo Skull delivery as opposed to having just this big pile of stuff at once that I'm opening, reviewing, and like not really getting to enjoy it. I kind of like the spread out time. Now, I'm not going to lie. I didn't need it to be this spread out, but I do like a little window, between shipments. And then finally, speaking of Chris Scott from Grindhouse Toys, who was our guest co-host for the Audible Rumble, we've got some updates over here. He will be at Toylanta March 27th through the 29th. I will, Noel, I'm sure you'll be there. I'll be there as well, just sort of hanging out. I don't think we've got anything programmed this year, which is totally fine by me. But we've got to look at the World War Hell packaging, which Chris talked about in his opening on the Rumble. They're still awaiting their first check models for World War Hell. They're hoping they'll have them to display at Toylanta. So that means there could be some actual nice early figures at Toylanta for people to look at. Chinese New Year is about to begin, and so we should get them after our factory partners get back from their holiday. We'll keep you posted as we get more information. They've received questions about backer kit, which we talked about also in the Audible Rumble. The backer kit, he had a meeting with them last week and just trying to figure it out. Shouldn't be too much longer. And then the VHS packaging, this team has been cranking out the nostalgic goodness. These are still work in progress and early peeks behind the curtain, so things can and will change. There's no wear or stickers yet. So if you've seen Grindhouse Toys' other releases, you know that there's always those VHS boxes. There's always some nice wear. It's all originally done stuff. It's really beautiful product. So what we're looking at here doesn't have the wear applied and is not the final product, but it gives you a little taste of what this packaging is going to look like. And on the left, you see the outer VHS box. We're looking at right now, Captain Winchester by Brian Sauer. And then on the right is the interior packaging, which is going to look like an actual video cassette, and then have the figure visible in the window, and then all the accessories and everything will be inside that interior box. So this is like it's going to be like opening a VHS tape. Next up is Sergeant Graves by Shane Pierce with a new Sergeant Graves logo by Jason Benvenu. It looks awesome. And I love that, we talked about back when Classified was doing this, having the different artists work on the packaging to give each figure its own identity and style, which was a mixed bag with Classified, I think, if we're being honest. But I love it here where each character, he's got a different artist working on each one, and it really does have its own personality, but they all have a really cool throwback feel. And then finally, Sergeant Spectre by Tim Barron with the connecting spine art by Mark Pennington. So if you look in the middle of the VHS box portion of this, You can see when you line all of the figures from the first wave up on your shelf, or all the boxes, there will be a mural on the side, kind of like the old WrestleMania box sets or the Star Trek VHS box set with the Enterprise on the side. So very, very cool feature there. And that art is by Mark Pennington. And I love this weird translucent blue cassette.
Yes. After my many years of working in a video store, getting some nice flashbacks of when you get the special tapes that were clear or orange or something like that.
And I'm trying to remember. I remember a green Ninja Turtles, I think, but I don't remember different color cassettes being as common as you would think.
No, they were very rare. So like it felt special when you got one. Except for like I think all the Nickelodeon releases were done in orange.
They were all orange. That's right. Yeah.
But occasionally you got one that would be a translucent or even like you'd get like a case, a slip cover. Like one of my favorites was the Johnny Mnemonic cover because it was a clear slip cover that had like you could see the tape in the character's head. So stuff like that was always fun.
That's cool. Man, that would be a fun episode to do for the channel, like best VHS packaging.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make a note. All right, so that is our update for World War Hell, which is top of my list right now for toy anticipation. Obviously very excited about Operation Monster Force, everything going on there. But we've got products in hand now, and we know it's awesome, and what's coming is coming. And there's like, when it's a brand new product, there's a different kind of anticipation for it,
Yorktown Joe has a question, and I apologize. I cannot remember if we talked about this before the Rumble, but he asked, will these be available in backer kit later? I want that Sergeant Spectre, but had too many pre-orders hitting during this campaign.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before. He's setting up the backer kit now. And just like these other campaigns, well, you know what? Okay, no, I don't want to speak for Chris because we didn't specify that, because I was probably assuming all the figures would be available, and he's probably assuming everybody knows the figures would be available, but I don't think we've discussed it. So I will say this, Yorktown Joe, I expect that all of the figures from the Kickstarter will be available in the backer kit, but I'm not going to confirm it. Pop over to the Instagram and just leave him a comment on one of the posts asking about it. Although the backer kit, I believe, will probably be up within the month, so we'll all know before too long anyway. All right. Sorry, got to make those notes. That's a good show idea. All right. Next up. Ooh, this was one of those announcements that initially I got so excited, and then I started thinking about the reality of what it was and just ended up with, because Street Fighter is coming back to Hasbro. And my first thought was, well, back in the day, that was part of the G.I. Joe line. So at the very least, like, these will look awesome beside classified figures. I'm certainly not expecting, well, I don't know, they could do a G.I. Joe Street Fighter crossover again. But here's the problem. As we're aware, Hasbro has two different 6-inch-ish scales. They've got the classified Marvel Legends scale, which is larger, and then they've got their movie scale, which is Ghostbusters, Star Wars Black Series, and other movie properties that they've done. And Indiana Jones, they're smaller. They do not mesh with classified. So every bit of interest I had in this Street Fighter license just went none. None now. if it was going to be compatible with classified, which it still could be, but I doubt it. There's a good chance I would buy a bunch of these, because imagine having classified style figures of the Street Fighter characters. Like, that would look awesome, especially considering who's playing them in the movie, because this is for the movie.
Yeah, and they'd be probably, because I mean, with the G.I. Joe Street Fighter figures we got, those were, with a couple of exceptions, mostly cobbled together from previous molds.
Right. Whereas I think these would be all new tooling.
Yeah.
Hey!
Woo! Brian Fabian with the super chat. Enjoy the show and glad to support you guys. Keep up the great work.
Yo, Joe, thank you. We appreciate it. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, Noel, you were saying like it was mostly Kit Bash stuff, Kit Bash repaints,
minus like heads and like say Honda's body obviously was new.
But this whatever this is, I'm positive would be new to, even if it is to go with classified, it's gonna be new tooling because they've got to base it off of these new portraits. Although now that I'm thinking about it, we don't even know that this will be 1/12 scale. This may end up being part of, because they mentioned let me read the press release. Okay. Some of the press release. Don't worry. I'm not reading the whole thing. Completely unnecessary. Hasbro announced a new licensing partnership with Legendary Entertainment, timed to the highly anticipated live-action Street Fighter movie arriving in theaters October 16th, 2026. Oh, and by the way, if you have not watched the teaser trailer for the new Street Fighter movie, please watch it. It looks like the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I could not be more excited for it. And the cast is crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Cody Rhodes is the only one that's popping into my head right now, but
isn't Roman Reigns, Jason Momoa, there's a bunch of people in it.
Yeah, Jason Momoa. Okay, here we go. I just brought it up because I need to know. So yeah, Roman Reigns as Akuma, Cody Rhodes as Guile, Andrew Koji as Ryu. If you remember, he was Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa as Blanca, or Blanca or whatever it is. Absolutely crazy. And it just looks like so much dumb fun.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited for this. But the figures have and Eric Andre as Don Sauvage.
Between that and the Master of the Universe
Street Fighter movie.
Yeah, like I feel like between that and the Master of the Universe trailer, I mean, we don't know what the movie's going to be like, but I feel like they're finally starting to get kind of how to approach these properties.
Hopefully
for live action movies. Hope so.
Because they both of them. That's a good comparison too, because tonally they are similar, and I think what they should be. Oh, also David Dastmalchian is M. Bison.
Yes.
That's the one that kills me.
50 Cent is Balrog. I mean, it could be one of the worst movies ever made, but I will bet you a paycheck it'll be entertaining.
Yeah.
It ain't going to be boring. But anyway, so let's get back to the press release. Again, not going to read the whole thing, but Hasbro's legacy with the Street Fighter franchise stretches back to the arcade era phenomenon Street Fighter II: The World Warrior, when the company created a popular line of action figures, vehicles, and playsets. It's just interesting to me that they specified action figures, vehicles, and playsets. Not that I think they're going to deliver that necessarily, or at least not in a collector-friendly format. We could very well see something like what they're doing with Marvel, where they've got the smaller figures with the vehicles, and I don't know that they've done play sets for those, but like that.
I mean, come on. They just did a Tron HasLab. They got to do a Street Fighter HasLab to give us finally the Eco Warriors Toxo Lab, because that was repainted for Street Fighter.
Yeah. But as far as we know, this could be
spoiler. That's how we're getting our Thunder Machine as the Street Fighter.
You know what? I wouldn't even be mad at that if they used the budget that they're going to have for Street Fighter to tool up the Thunder Machine, or think about what if they do it as part of their 375 thing. Speaking of Tron, they could do. There are a lot of interesting possibilities, but I am, I guess, pre-disappointed without any facts to support it that they're probably not going to do anything that's part of classified, even though it's right there. All right. Next up is still Hasbro news, but it's the big news that we got on Sunday. And we're going to start with, you know what, Noel? Why don't you do the honors?
Hey, I know that guy. So we got a bunch of classified drops, a bunch of digital renders on Sunday. And of course, we've been talking about him for a while. I'm surprised we got the render before we even got a name reveal or anything, but this was one of the ones we were saying, one of the last figures. I think this was the last one between 82 and 86 that we hadn't got yet that wasn't a vehicle driver. So we're finally getting airtight, and he looks exactly what I would expect a classified airtight to look like. I don't know if his helmet's removable.
Right. That's what I wondered.
But I mean, it looks like it could be. But then again, they would often, like with another one we're going to see, if you have a removable helmet, it'll often be next to it in the render. So I think it'll be a missed opportunity if they don't.
I don't think Wetsuit had his helmet off in the first render we saw of him.
Okay.
And I could be wrong about that. I think though that Wetsuit was like this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I said, and it would make
serious.
Yeah, and it would make sense because it looks like, I don't think that all that is one piece with the piping and all that going to his back. So I presume that that's probably just there to give you a better idea of it. Few modifications from the original. He's got a holster, a drop holster on his leg, and then he's got knee pads, which are all things that it can only enhance airtight. Because I just always felt like from the waist down he was kind of blah. And did a pretty perfect update on the little sniffer and his backpack. Although the first thing when I looked at that backpack, and y'all old internet people can probably vouch for this, all I knew is first thing I saw that, and I got a goatsy in my head. So if you don't know what that is, don't look it up.
Oh no! Shame on you. Wow. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he looks great. The colors are wonderful. I love the fact that they didn't completely change the sniffer, which I'm glad you said at first because I can't ever remember the name of it, even though it's the most obvious name. Yeah. But yeah, he looks great. There's a part of me that might have liked his coveralls to be a little bulkier. But I don't think that's a correct thought because this isn't, it just doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to look like a hazmat suit. That's not what this is. This is a field operative. This is like, but in my head, I think that's what I keep going to is like, it'd be kind of cool if he was almost like mole ready. But
yeah, and I know, and I kind of had the same thought cross my mind, but then when you look at the details, unlike the original airtight figure, he does have like pockets on his legs. He does have what look just like actual pockets on his waist, but also like pouches on the side. So not a hazmat suit necessarily, but it looks great.
$300 airtight. Or HasLab airtight.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So next up,
real quick, Kevin Riddle popped in with it is removable per full force. However, I do not recommend using full force on your figures because they might break. Heat up that neck peg first, and then you can just gently pop it.
Yeah, well, anything's removable if you believe in yourself.
I just hope that he does have the receding hairline. That's my ask.
Yeah,
and that's where friend of the pod Brett White popped in with use a Norman Osborn head.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, as a matter of fact, It just so happens I've got a little hall of heads on my desk here, if you will, and look who is sitting right there. Although he's looking a little sour to be airtight. Like I don't see airtight being like quite mean mugging like that. But yeah, that's funny. Norman Osborn hanging out on the desk. All right, Kristian, I'm going to let you lead us off on the next one.
The Hydro Viper. Okay, so the first thing I noticed is look at the eyes. Remember how when they revealed Copperhead, like because of that full mask, like the crazy eyes are what stuck out. And it's not even just that he has like these crazy eyes. We'll see, once we see a physical copy, but look at the dark.
Well, he almost looks like the Frag Viper. Like he's got the same thing going on as the Frag Viper. And I meant to go look at the file card to see, because I think by this point in the line, most of the Cobra troops were getting like genetically modified in some way or something. And I forgot to go back and look at it. So if anybody wants to bring up the file card here.
You know what? And
or actually, you keep talking and I'll look.
I didn't read the file card, but I did have to go back to yojo.com to look at the original figure because of the knife. And I'll mention that in a second. But I love the clawed fins. I think they look really cool. The mask, fantastic. I mean, we're getting a manta ray in the G.I. Joe line. It looks like, it's just a slug. But that's okay because I don't necessarily need an articulated manta ray. He has his harpoon pistol and then his dagger knife, which, again, this goes back to giving credit to the years of being on the show and how I notice things, but his knife, that is almost an exact copy of Darkon's knife from the Super Joe line. And I thought, is this possibly them hinting at something? And I went back and looked at the original figure, and no, that's the exact same design.
Yeah, the accessories are just about all identical to the original figure, with upgrades, obviously. Although this is, and I presume even though he has a pet, he's not quite a pet because that's not a large enough and articulated enough pet to be a pet. But if there were ever an opportunity to throw in an extra pair of hands, this would be the one.
That's in my notes. Okay, well, first, I'd like to correct everybody. The proper scientific name for that creature is majestic undersea flap. Noel, I'm glad you got that. So my next note on this was swappable hands would be cool because I like the monster hand, but now you've just got a monster hand.
Well, and that's identical to how the original figure was. Was his left hand was the webbed claw hand, and then the right hand had a fist, or had a holster hand.
But that was almost 40 years ago. Better now. But at the same time, and this is what I got to, is swappable hands would be cool. However, there's nothing I would remove from this loadout. Like there's nowhere to fit swappable hands in here, so I get it.
Yeah.
The mask is absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
They have achieved what the original toy was trying for. I would like it if it were we don't know. This is a render. We don't know what the final product will look like, but I would like it if it were a little brighter purple. It still looks great, and the purple and red combo is really nice. But if it were just a little brighter, and that's something I've said about a lot of the classified figures, is like just up the vibrancy just a little bit, just a little more. Everything I feel like could stand to be a little brighter.
Yeah.
Well, the chat has let us know that they are surgically and chemically altered to be able to withstand the pressures of the deep, which makes them
to withstand nitrogen narcosis.
Yep. I knew I would get tongue-tied over reading that, and I'm not even gonna try with the fat production.
Okay. Well, wait. No, this explains the synthetic
cuteness.
webs are implanted between their fingers, and subcutaneous fat production is stimulated by chemical injections to provide natural insulation. This is crazy.
Yeah. Next time I go to the Living Seas at Epcot, I'm gonna ask them about
all of these
all
terms.
of this. Yes.
You're gonna ask, can you do this to me? Like, can we make a can we make a Cobra intern eel right
But
now?
also, for our comic reading fans, Nowhere Man Child said G.I. Joe European Missions issue 14 made Hydro Viper his only appearance in the 80s. So I'm going to be tracking that down to read it.
Very cool. Okay. Well, you know what, Kristian, you're going to continue on because this is your guy.
Oh my gosh. So listeners, keep in mind, the last 2 weeks I have been on an early morning schedule at work. I'm usually a night guy, so I've been getting to work at like 5 o'clock in the morning. So when all of these pictures came through, I was incredibly busy at the moment, incredibly tired, waiting to get my second wind. And this hit, and I was like, oh yeah, let's go. This, if you were gonna update Overkill, man, I love everything about this. I'm hoping when we see the physical copy, the few critiques I have about its legs maybe get touched, but I love the head sculpt, the chest design. Obviously, they're not going with the clear piece, which is fine, brittle plastic. But you can clearly see the hinges, so it's going to open up, have the gun inside. I also like, without that clear green or the clear piece, that the shape of his armor, it looks like a python head.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, adds a whole other dimension to him. And for fans of the original figure, I also really appreciate that they made the claw attachment that, like, with the original figure, that laser pistol and the claw was one piece, and it's really big, and not my favorite way to display him. So I'm really,
and it just looks unwieldy. It doesn't look cool. And I get what they were going for, but it's not my favorite accessory.
So I'm glad that they made it so that you can do the claw on as a separate piece. Brett White says, I will be very much in my feelings if Overkill doesn't come with a giant backpack. That is the one thing I think that he is missing. But I highly doubt we're gonna get it. But 3D printers out there, just know,
I was
you
just
do
getting
that,
ready to say,
take my money right here.
Gridiron probably already has some kind of big. Imagine what they might do. They turn that big backpack into like a weapons chest or something. Like where it could open up, and
it should just make sounds like the original one did, and then you could repaint it for all the figures that'll eventually be like what were the Sonic Fighter repaints eventually.
Yep.
I mean, that would be cool. I wouldn't mind it, and it wouldn't be permanently attached like the original, because
some of them were, some of them were not.
Well, this was from the first ones though, the talking battle commanders, and it was permanently attached.
Yeah.
Well,
when I think
nothing is permanently attached if you believe in yourself.
If you have a screwdriver, nothing's permanently attached.
This is a figure that I have waited for a very long time in this line. And with this render, I am super happy, and I am really, really excited. I cannot wait to see the actual physical copy. Now, I love that they added the rivets across the top thigh part of his leg, where that swivel joint is, because when you look at the render, it does give me a little bit Marauders Slaughter vibes of looking like he's wearing gold leggings. So I do hope that the physical copy, there's more sort of like straight lines on those legs as opposed to curved to give it a little more robotic feel. But also in hand, being able to see like those rivets and all that extra detail they put in will also probably help with that.
Yeah, this one is a must-have. This is when classified gets weird. And what's funny is they got weird, but they've stuck to pretty much the original design, which is what makes this so weird. The weapons being multiple pieces, where it looks like you can clip the laser onto the wrist and the claw and plug in the claw, or the I'm not going to say sword, laser dagger. I don't know. So you can do whichever you want. And then his cannon is redesigned from the original, but I think looks much cooler. Like, it's similar. It evokes it.
Yeah.
But it's an updated design. And that bright green, I mean, I love it. It's great. This is a hideous color combination, and I am here for it. Next up. Ooh, it's a mystery figure. And it is a new character, apparently.
Yeah, everyone thinks this is a Wild Bill retro, but I'm like, well, they would not do a Wild Bill retro as a silhouetted figure, I don't think, at all.
Right. Well, and the retros don't get this background. Like, retros look different when they do the renders for those. You know what? Now that I say that,
I just figured it was the G.I. Joe Overwatch mashup, because that is totally McCree's silhouette, and I am so curious.
Oh wait, hang on.
What it turned out to be.
I forgot something about
Bane. That's who it is.
I forgot something about Overkill. This gold face, I wonder if that might pop off and there's something under there. It kind of just looks like that to me. Not that there should be, but there could be.
Right.
All right. Back to this guy. So, all right, I'm really annoyed because his tank beat me to what I was going to say with some AI video that they did. But Noel, you might even remember this. Years and years ago, I was not a fan of gold head Destro. So because I thought it was funny, I stuck an extra Wild Bill cowboy hat on this version 2 Destro and gave him a couple of blasters and called him Rootin' Tootin' Destro. And when you were over, you may have seen him in that 2009, the flying vehicle, the Cobra flying vehicle. He's hanging out the door like this. So that is the Rootin' Tootin' Destro that I've had since like 2010 or something. So
the other thought that I had for this one
looks like Rootin' Tootin' Destro.
Yeah.
You can even see, I mean, clearly the inspiration here is the man with no name. It looks like he's got the poncho. If you look at the outline right there. What was your thought, Noel?
No, my thought, and I'm surprised I hadn't seen anybody comment on this, is Wong from the October Guard. But I don't think that they would have led with Wong if you're going to do October Guard figures.
Never lead with Wong.
Well, as always, coming through with the direct line to Lenny, Rekship says, I asked Lenny why we have to unlock render reveals now, and he laughed and just said it's a new character that will require more explanation. Now turn out the light and go to sleep.
But what's interesting here is if you notice, those are not cowboy boots. Those are like big clunky combat style boots. So while the upper, knees and up basically look like it could, well, okay. The other thing I noticed is look at his right wrist. there's something there, and I don't know if maybe it's just a sheath for that knife, but it looks potentially a little componenty or something. So very interesting. And look, I'll be honest, I'm excited to see something new that's like just completely out of the classified team's imagination because they've earned it.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're able to do that and create new characters for the line. I'm not necessarily going to buy all the new characters they come up with, but the idea that, we're not just doing retro nostalgia. There's a lot of that here, but you know what? We can throw some new stuff in there and create some new lore while we're at it.
Well, and look, every other Joe line since the original, the people running the line have been able to make their mark and introduce new characters because fans weren't so sensitive to things back then. So they could do stuff. I mean, that's how we got Scalpel and all those characters, from 2002-ish. So of course the classified team should be able to come up with some new characters for the line, for the franchise, and leave their mark on history, basically. So I think this is great. I'm excited to see it. Whatever it is. All right. Next up. Oh, yeah. This excited me. We had gotten the name drop on these, but when that happens, we're left with, well, what are they going to look like? Are they going to be true to the originals? Are they going to be minor updates? They're going to be completely different. And the first thing I want to point out, because when this was dropped, I saw many, many places Taurus should be way bigger. And I understand where that thought comes from because he looks like a strong man, but Taurus is an acrobat. And I don't agree that he should be big. I think he should be lean like this. I think Red Dog looks great. He's got a big build, looks like a football player. Comes with a football and a tee, which, I'll put in a bin, but I think it's really neat. I think it's a good inclusion. And he's got a throwing hand for the football. Do you guys have any thoughts about these two?
I've already been trying to think of interesting ways to use not the football, but that football stand for fighting photos. Because whoever would have thought that we would get a football kickstand?
Yeah.
In our G.I. Joe action figure line.
Is it a kickstand? I thought they were called a T. I don't know.
Do I ever look or sound like or make any of you think that I pay attention to sports?
Well, you said kickstand with authority, and I thought, I might be wrong about that.
I think it is T, but to me, this is just getting that T and that football mold ready so they can do a fridge figure down the line. Or Captain Gridiron.
Gridiron. I need that football gun.
So, and this is Noel is a baseball fan with hardball. He should, reasonably come with, Big Lob has basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Red Dog comes with football. So realistically, hardball should have a baseball bat and a baseball, if not a catcher's mitt also.
Well, he has the baseball shooting cannon is what that I guess supposed to it's supposed to shoot like baseball grenades. So maybe he'll come with that and little grenades that are etched like baseballs.
I feel like they kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
So the accessories look great. I love that we've got some extra blades for Taurus. Red Dog has an additional because he's got the mace or club or whatever that gnaws on in the movie, but they've given a little extra something here too. And what's surprising to me is I believe all 4 of those weapons are new tooling. Because my first thought was that the Taurus's axe came with slice and dice, but I think it's a little different from what came with them. I'm not positive. I would rather have the Joe rifle than the Stalker rifle. Or I guess snow job rifle, the XM, whatever it is. I can't ever remember the name of that stupid thing.
Standard issue Joe rifle.
Yeah, I would rather have that than Stalker's rifle. But everything else is great. This is a great set. I'm in. Oh, I wouldn't. Here's my controversial take. I wouldn't have minded either one of these or both having a bunch of tattoos, especially Red Dog. Like if we're going for a modern football player look.
Oh yeah.
But that's a budgetary expense, so I get it. All right, Noel, back to you. What are we looking at?
What are we looking at? Oh, what are we looking at? We are looking at Zanya with her swamp skier, her chameleon, which we got the tease of the chameleon previously, so we were curious as to, are we getting another Zartan? We know we're getting Ninja Force Zartan, but he doesn't really make sense on a chameleon. But this is the way to do Zanya, I suppose, is to put her on the chameleon. Which so the chameleon, to me, I'm looking at this vehicle, and it doesn't quite look like my original chameleon. But what it does look like is an actual chameleon, which is why I love it.
Huh?
It's the shape of the vehicle itself looks like an actual chameleon, like the body style. So
okay,
yeah. But it does look a little bit different from the original. Like when I think about the original, it feels like almost like a motorcycle. Like it was kit bashed from a motorcycle and just put into this bin. And this one actually looks like it's a little bit more of a specialized vehicle. But no, I think she looks great. She looks like a very tiny figure, as most of the female figures are. So we'll see, how she actually looks in real life. But yeah, good loadout there. The pistol, I was like, did she come with Megatron?
Yeah, the color on that, like immediately.
It just needs the stock.
Yeah.
We got the mask, got a couple pairs of removable glasses, which we'll get. I don't know if those are glasses or goggles.
Well, one looks like goggles, one looks like sunglasses.
Yeah. And then your little helmet, your little like vintage flight helmet. But yeah, it's cool that we're actually getting her now. I said this before about the fists. About getting swappable hands with the Hydra Viper would have been nice. There's not really much of a point of getting these swappable hands when they're almost identical to they're just fists, but they're not much different than her weapon carrying hands here. So save the two fists in Zanya, put them in the Hydra Viper, problem solved.
Yeah. I don't like the weapons loadout because these are all reuse from male figures, and they're going to be giant because I mean, look at this picture. They're too big. They're too big for her.
Yeah.
I wish they would make some larger women in this line because the little tiny waif is getting kind of old. But otherwise, and for this character, it's perhaps more appropriate than it is with some of the other ones.
Yeah. If they ever do like a Heart Wrencher figure, that figure should be bigger.
Yes, I agree. Otherwise, though, I think she looks absolutely perfect. I love the like tank girl looking old school helmet. It looks like I said, swappable goggles and sunglasses. And then it also looks like that hockey mask might be, it's either got hair in it or something. I don't know. I'm curious to see how that functions. I guess maybe her hair comes off.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was like the hair comes off and that replaces it, or if it's like a completely different head. I don't think it's a different head. Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. But I think she looks great. That chameleon's gonna have to grow on me. I don't as of right now, with this single from the side flat looking image, I don't care for it.
It's too angular.
We'll see. Yeah, and that's really It looks like, and that's because it's a render. We haven't seen the full thing. It looks so flat, and yeah, I don't the angles of it because the original was nice and rounded. This it just doesn't look good to me, but we'll see. It'll look better.
Piece underneath that gets me. I'm hoping once we see the physical version that just pops more, because it that black doesn't look like, oh, this is empty space.
Right.
Like
it looks
the original.
It
looks like this is still part of the body, and so yeah, the engine just almost looks like it's decaled on.
Yeah, and it'll look better once we see something with some actual dimensionality to it. So I have faith I will end up liking it, but as of now, I do not.
Noel, this question is directed towards you. Nowhere Man Child asking, that's an October Guard Dana headpiece too, right?
There you go. Maybe this is how we're going to slowly introduce our October Guard in, is by molding accessories for other characters. And eventually a horror show will get a larger version of that helmet.
Man, that's my guy. Did he show up? Did he return in this year's Audible Rumble? You'll have to listen or watch to find out. And finally, Ninja Force Zartan. So many people's dreams are coming true.
Pixel Dan.
He looks great. I don't love the open sheaths. I never do. Oh, yeah, and actually I wanted to mention, I hope Taurus, his web gear, has some storage for those blades on the back. But Zartan does have storage. He's got, again, those open sheaths, which I just won't ever love. But those swords are a little shorter, so it maybe won't be as egregious as like a katana, 4/5 of a katana length just uncovered. This works a little better. I like the additional, because the sword on the left, I believe, is pretty much what the original figure came with.
Well, let's keep in mind too, this Zartan keeps two swords, or daggers, I think in this case, just going across one leg. So practicality on the way that you're storing your swords, it's already, you have to keep that element. So you might as well just have willy-nilly blades poking out everywhere.
So what's most clever about this? So when I first saw this, I looked at that compound bow and I hated it, because I can't stand a posed drawn bow like that. Then I realized that is a replacement bowstring up on the top right. So you will be, that is very clever engineering. So when you can pop the drawn one out and just have it normal, like the other Storm Shadow ones. And also impressive that they didn't just reuse one of Storm Shadow's compound bows.
Yeah.
So you get the quiver full of arrows that I guess will plug into his back. We'll see.
And I do wish that they had gone a little brighter with the pants.
I agree.
Really gone with the full Constructicon green color.
Always brighter. Always go bright.
Yeah.
And he's got the two knives that go into that thigh pouch. Be very interested to see what that looks like, in execution. But I'm so glad they did it, because we've talked about that since we've been talking about the possibility of this version of Zartan. We have speculated on, well, how do they make that not dumb?
You can't, but that's part of its appeal.
So yeah, looks absolutely great. It's exactly like I would want Ninja Force Zartan to look.
Yes, this will be one, I normally keep my purchases within that like 82 to 87 updates range. I'm going to have to explore the 90s for this one for sure.
Well, he has become kind of an iconic. I would say that this look is sort of the representation of that era that our age group of Joe fans, who didn't pay any attention after 87 or 88 for the most part. He's become like the figurehead initially in a negative way, but now has been embraced and is like, I guess, symbolic of that whole 90s era of like, oh, this stuff's actually a lot of fun.
And see, this was my younger brother's Zartan, and I remember when he got him, I was like, oh, they finally made, other than the leg sword storage, I was like, they finally made a cool Zartan, like, because I've said it before, like, the original Zartan isn't bad, just to me, his face sculpt looks like someone who got stung by a bee and has an allergy, and Ninja Force Zartan with the mohawk, like, he looked like an angry biker dude. To me, he looked like the leader of the Dreadnought. So, this will be my Zartan going on the shelf.
I wouldn't mind seeing a mashup of this because you know what? I hadn't even thought about like, oh yeah, this looks more like a biker for whatever reason than the original Zartan. Like, this gear in a way makes more sense. I wouldn't mind seeing a mashup of like this Zartan with the hood in colors that are more muted than this, but brighter than the original. Like, that could be very cool to see. Well, almost like Renegade's Zartan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a lot of very exciting. Let's just run back through them real quick. Everything here is great classified. I mean, it all looks really good. They're all exciting names. There's nothing in here that's a dud. Like, this is all stuff that we've talked about. We've been excited to see. I mean, except for the unknown figure, whatever that is. But it's all stuff that we've speculated about here on the show extensively. There's nothing in here that's we'll see or whatever. Like, this is a really solid group of announcements, I think. So are we all in agreement? G.I. Joe Day 2026, thumbs up.
Yes.
Yeah. And we didn't get a live stream. We didn't get like a lot of lore, but we got 6 pictures and some little brief descriptions and lots to talk about. So that's really what matters.
Yeah, and Toy Fair's only like
2 weeks.
2 weeks away. So I figured that's why we didn't get any kind of live stream or pre-recorded, because they're just going to talk all about this at Toy Fair.
Yeah. Well, that is all the news we got for this week. It is time now for everybody's favorite segment, Sound Off. This is where you follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. And every time we're doing a live stream early in the day, it will be there'll be a post that says Sound Off. And that is us asking you for what to talk about on that evening show. It's the best way to interact with us outside of the Audible Army Facebook group. So let's get down to business. First up, Wreckship 85. Now that Airtight has finally been revealed, who is the next character that you guys think is the most glaring omission still in classified? I mean, the finally is a little, I don't know that he's a finally, just because we're only 5 years into a line that lasted from 1963 to technically, I guess, 2017. They were potentially introducing new characters, so hundreds of characters still to go. I don't know. What do you think, Kristian? Who are we missing?
The Heat Viper. I'm surprised that we got and remember, he was my favorite troop builder, but I am surprised of 2025. But I'm surprised that we got a Flak Viper before we got a Heat, or Frag Viper before we got a Heat Viper.
I would say right now the most glaring omission is Destro, Iron Grenadier Destro. It's freaking bizarre that we've got his troops and we don't have him. And it's not necessarily that he's super high on my want list. I just think it's really, really strange that we haven't seen him. And I wonder if they feel like because they did the Prophet Director Destro, that they kind of felt or perhaps for longer than they should have, they felt like that Prophet Director Destro kind of filled that hole.
Mm-hmm. My thought on him was that they may have decided to pivot once the vehicle started selling more and they were able to put more out, that maybe they were going to release him as a single figure. Then they decided maybe we should pack him in with a spoiler or something. And so there's more research coming, but because it seemed obvious that he was going to get released like 2 years ago when we started seeing Iron Grenadier's figures. Yeah, he was my first choice as well, but since you said him, I'll say Flash because we don't have Flash yet.
Oh yeah, good call. That'll make somebody very happy.
Wasn't he name dropped?
Was he?
No,
no.
I don't think he's been name dropped, but we got his gear with
Glinda.
What's her face?
Yeah,
Glinda.
Yeah. So like, he and Grand Slam, who will presumably be released as a partial repaint of Flash eventually. They're the last 013s we don't have when Zap comes out.
All right. Next up, Silent Interlude, who wrote a novel. In one of your interviews with Brian Flynn, he mentioned that he wasn't going to be making anything that had already been made in a particular format. You recently referenced it, talking about international redos or something of the ilk. I remember him saying it, but I figured that was a true at the time, but things changed situation after we saw the Reaction Plus line produce Duke and Cobra Commander, almost identical to the Hasbro Retro 2-pack and extremely similar to the vintage versions. The first Serpentor, who was again very close to the original and comic pack versions, Tiger Force Duke, etc. At this point, it doesn't really seem like a rule to not remake anything, or if it is, the bar for what has to be different is pretty low. Why couldn't we see a Cobra Da'ako or Mortal? They'd be different enough from the vintage versions that no one would be confused. Maybe invert colors somewhere. So there's a lot there. This could have been our whole next episode. So I will say that interview with Brian Flynn was from last year. And it is possible that things change, but I do not believe that to be the case because the Duke and Cobra Commander you referenced are not at all identical to the Hasbro Retro 2-pack. And this is speaking from my perspective. The Serpentor, the Reaction Plus Serpentor, is not very close to the original and comic pack versions. This is how I see these things. This is the Duke and Cobra Commander from Reaction Plus are modeled on the Sunbow characters. They aesthetically are nowhere near the ones Hasbro produced that were essentially recolors of the original Duke and Cobra Commander figures with minor tooling changes, but they were Sunbow colors. They were not Sunbow aesthetic. And that to me is extremely different. Same thing with Serpentor.
And Tiger Force Duke is a completely different color scheme than the Hasbro one. I mean,
but I will say that's the one that comes closest to really kind of baffling me because why do that?
Mm-hmm.
It's just weird. And I get it. They wanted a repaint out of it, sure, but go in a different direction. So that one is strange given their rules. But I believe that the idea is, they're going to base it on the animation or they're going to base it on the comic book. So that's their way to do characters like Duke and Cobra Commander. But to remake, because Cobra Da'ako, which I'm probably mispronouncing, sorry, I specifically asked him about that one. And the answer was no, we are not remaking any of those figures because they exist on the market. And it's not even necessarily about confusion, just so much as it's already been done. He doesn't have any interest in doing it again. Now, things may change. Somebody is the new Super 7 has different ownership now. We don't know. And that's the short answer to this, is we don't really know. But the long answer is what I just said, in that the examples that you provided to my eye and to their eye are very different from anything that's been made before. Do you guys have any other thoughts on that?
No.
Other than I want them. So I'm right there with you, Silent Interlude, but
yeah, same.
I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that it eventually changes.
Yeah, because, hey, man, if we can get me a gaucho in this line at some point in time, I'll be a happy person.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see all that. But I do believe Brian Flynn himself would very specifically be against that. But, I mean, the idea of doing recolors or something, or minor tooling changes, I don't know. And that would be the other thing you got to think about, is if he is against reproducing those at all, is he really going to invest time in doing workarounds? You know what I mean? Like, if he doesn't want to do it anyway. So I don't know. That's the short answer. Tom Henry. I hope you saw that Fang action earlier. That was just for you. I know it's not a hydro sled, but you got to be patient. When I told the guy, oh wait, no, Kristian, you're taking this one.
Yep. When I told the guy at my LCS that my choice for the cover variant with Roadblock, my choice was for the cover variant with Roadblock.
I told you this is.
Yep.
I don't get it.
He set aside the Chameleon cover for me. It made me wonder if the Energon universe is bringing in new fans. I've seen my cover choices go from 10 in the miniseries era to 2 currently. They don't even make the wall these days. I'm hoping it's just my local comic shop, which is very Magic focused. Okay, so Tom Henry, thank you for this question. I actually loved it because you used all the same lingo as my old manager at Sci-Fi World. So kudos. It was giving me the warm fuzzies. So he is talking about, with the G.I. Joe issue number 18, the Roadblock issue, he wanted the variant cover that had Roadblock on it. His store did not have it. Now, I know mostly with Skybound, the stores in the past were able to, order whatever variants they wanted. I don't know if that is still the same. I was trying to look online to see it. In some cases with comics, it's like, oh, your store has to order 100 copies, and then they get a copy of this cover. I don't know. I feel like Skybound still pretty much does equal printing for all of the covers. As far as bringing in new fans, yes, it seems to be doing that. So as I learned, one of the very sad things about Diamond collapsing, even though they were a monopoly, is that the sales info for comics is actually now a little harder to get because you're buying from so many different sources. But I was able to find out that in December of 2025, of the top 150 comics, 3 Image comics made it. Now, only one made it in the top 50, and that was Invincible Universe Battle Beast. But the other 2 that were from 50 to 150 were G.I. Joe and Transformers. So for a non-Big 2 comic to still be, cracking those numbers, that's a really good sign. As far as and I'm saying this to all of our listeners, if you're going to your shop and you're not seeing the Skybound comics on the wall, or AKA the shelves, let them know. they do their orders 2 months in advance. So give them a call, let them know that you're wanting your Skybound universe, or Energon universe, as the case may be. If they're not ordering enough, like, if it's a small shop and maybe they cater more to gamers, maybe they're not ordering a lot of the different variant comics. But again, call them in advance and say, look, I've seen, this variant cover of Duke shaking hands with Optimus Prime playing chess, and what would it take to get that? So with comic shops, speak with your wallet, but also speak with your wallet 2 months in advance.
Throw up Tom Henry's most recent comment as a follow-up. No, not that one. I mean, that's fine, but
oh wait, which one? Here we go. Sorry.
Nope, most recent.
Most recent. Oh, sorry. Chat was scrolling and I did not scroll with it. I need to write these after I've had coffee.
I could not figure out what he's talking about.
I couldn't figure it out the first time I read it, but then a couple hours later, after I had some coffee, I could decipher it.
Maybe Tom Henry, I maybe we're just on the same wavelength when I am sleep deprived then, because Dave sent a message saying one of the two of you will have to tackle this question because I read it. It doesn't make sense.
I didn't say it didn't make sense. I said I don't understand it.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
So I was not assigning blame. I was
right.
I was open.
But I was running downstairs to our storage ITEL, and just in the brief run down the stairwell, I read that and I was like, oh, this makes perfect sense.
You I mean, seriously, it was like 30 seconds later, you were like, no, I got it. So there you go. Good information. And the important thing here is, go to your local comic shop and let them know what you need. That's the big thing, whether it's G.I. Joe or anything else.
Oh, wait, but Tom, one of Tom's comments, my comic book store owner doesn't know any of the G.I. Joe characters. Shame on him. He had Roadblock, but assumed Chameleon was Roadblock. Roadblock wishes that he had cakes that tasty.
Yeah, to be fair, she does have a Roadblock going on there. All right. Next up, and I forgot to crop it, so it still says for you, which, by the way, Instagram, I don't need most recent. I don't need for you. I don't need anything. Just show me the freaking comments. I don't all of these services that are like, for you, we think you'd like these. Shut up. I don't care what you think I'd like. I just want to see the information I'm here for. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Ed at the Beach. Will we ever get a General Flag or General Austin in Classified, or maybe the Jugglers? I mean, the only real answer to this is anything is possible. They've said that they're going to pull from the history of Joe, that anything is possible at this point. That's how successful the line has been. So, yeah. And I mean, especially with Operation Monster Force providing some really nice looking general figures, I got to think Lenny's going to take that as a challenge.
Hey, we got a General Flag in the original, the original American Hero line. Mm-hmm. Granted, he's not the General Flag that we wanted.
Right.
But, at least we've gotten that figure out before.
But yeah, I mean, I got to think, Lenny is not going to let all of these dress suit figures that Fresh Monkey Fiction is putting out, or dress uniform figures, whatever. He's not going to let that go unanswered. And I mean in the most friendly, competitive way possible, but there's no way we don't see some kind of suited soldier in the next, I would say by the end of 2026, I bet we get at least a render of whether it's dress gung-ho or something like that, or an actual, General Flag or General Austin or something. I bet we see one before the end of this year. I'll
But
make that
also,
call.
because you mentioned it, shout out to Operation Monster Force. If you guys haven't seen the general figure,
Man,
there is an alternate head that sure is a movable fighting action man with a beard.
Dude, that figure is killing me because every time I look at it on the shelf, I think about the other heads that I don't have displayed because they're all great.
Stupid tariffs. Because I'm like, I want another one, but not right now. There's too much other stuff.
Right. Well, and that's what happens is like I'm like, when things slow down, I'll circle back around and maybe grab another one of those, which was my plan with the Reaction Plus Royal Guards. And I ended up with 2, but my plan had been, okay, anytime that I know there's like a little leeway, I'm just going to order another one. And the next time it came around, the price had gone up on them, and now they're anyway. So yeah, I mean, look, probably, but we don't know. All right, last one. Yorktown Joe, who is excited for the mystery character Star Wars crossover, Cad Bane. Okay. Just kidding, but glad to see an homage to a silhouette cross-sell on an explosion background. And that's the portion of this that I hadn't really thought about. That, we used to see this frequently in the Real American Hero line. And I had not considered that they hadn't done it in classified. And it's funny how the stuff that we took for granted back then seems weird now.
Mm-hmm.
As a kid, it used to drive me crazy. I never liked it. Star Wars did it too, and I just thought that was a crime.
Now, I can't remember off the top of my head because I can't totally picture one of those. Did that because Super 7 did that as well with the Reaction line. I don't think we've seen it in Reaction Plus yet, but the Reaction line, they did that as well. But it was a generic silhouette. Like it wasn't like it was it wasn't like this what we looked at tonight. It would just be a generic silhouette. Is that what the brands did back in the day, or was it the actual shape of the character? I don't remember.
So for the Star Wars ones, now granted, they were doing it initially to keep the Ewoks a surprise, but it looks like someone just blotted out the shape. So it wasn't a generic, body shape or whatever. It was like they traced the outline and then filled it in with black. So it looked more blobby.
Okay. I'll have to, when we're done, I'm going to go look some of these up because it's a really interesting point that I hadn't thought about. And I personally would like to see more of it because really it's potentially another step they could add in to make the production time seem more broken up because, now we get name reveal, render reveal, like diorama photo reveal, and then pre-order. So we sort of have 4 stages. It wouldn't be terrible to add a 5th stage in there. That you could alternate from time to time with a name reveal like they've done with this. I think that would be kind of fun.
People talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sure you've already covered the speculation by now, so I'll just thank you for another great show in advance. Well, thank you, Yorktown Joe. You've always been a great contributor to the show. We appreciate your support, and anytime you provide a sound off or whatever else, it's always good stuff worthy of conversing about. And so now the final segment of the show. Hopefully, I didn't plan for this one, so I'm having to do an emergency backup. Do you guys have Joe and Tells?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Well, it's in the show notes. I should have been ready. But like I said, there was a lot of laundry today. So now it's time for Joe and Tell, where each of us has something to share with the camera. Who wants to go? I'll go last because mine's going to take a minute. Who wants to? Noel, you want to?
Sure, I can lead us off.
All right.
I just returned from a little trip, and so my Joe and Tell is this right here.
Ooh, I recognize that.
Yes, this is the rocket to Conquest X-13. And it's not that impressive. I've got several others vehicles around, but I was in San Diego for the last week. On Saturday, I went to the Coin-Op game room on 30th Street, and then down to Part-Time Lover, which is a Japanese-style listening bar. Fantastic place. If you're in the San Diego area, there's actually several Japanese-style listening bars, and I definitely recommend Convoy Convoy Listening Bar if you get a chance. But this was at a shop that is in between those two places called Replay Toys. It is on 2948 University Avenue and 30th Street in San Diego. It's a wonderful little toy store because they do have a lot of kind of little trinkety toys, but they've also got new stuff and then used stuff. And it's one of those places where I kind of walked in and I was like, all right, there's a few things here. They got a few vintage Star Wars figures over here in a case. And then, there's some Joe stuff. Not much. A few loose figures, mostly modern and Valor versus Venom era stuff. But when I was purchasing this, which was in a bin of things that said G.I. Joe accessories, 50 cents to $1, and I took it up to the cashier and I said, this was in a bin that said 50 cents to $1. She goes, looks like 50 cents to me. So that was my price for it.
Nice.
She goes, we don't have a lot of G.I. Joe stuff out now, but we have a whole bunch of stuff we just haven't got a chance to put back. So hopefully you can come back soon. I was like, well, unfortunately, I don't live in the area
where Noel pulls out.
Well, they apparently have an eBay site as well, so they do list stuff on eBay from time to time. But if you are in the San Diego area, it's a great little shop. Unfortunately, as said, I did not get to go to Super 7 because they're closed down. I did not get to go to Now or Never Comics, which I went to last time I was out there, which was actually a great little shop. And there's a new place opening up that was right in the gas lamp called Dampire, Dampire, that appears to have not opened yet, but it's another comic and toy shop down there. So yeah, definitely recommend Replay Toys. I told them that I would give them a shout out on our show here tonight. So nice. This is them. And I definitely also recommend them because they like their whiskey neat or their water at room temperature, if you get what I'm saying.
Well, all right. Kristian. Oh, whoa, what just happened? I just clicked on Kristian and a little blue square.
Oh.
Okay. All right, you're up.
So, this is not finished. However, my good friend, there we go. My good friend Wes, who is also part of the Facebook group, has started 3D printing. And one of the things that I had talked to him about many times is, of course, wanting a Cobra bunker, not a porta potty. So check it out.
That. Wow.
Yeah. So I've been painting it with what little bits of free time I have. So I still have a long ways to go. Also, I think it's Mad Dog Tattoos, I think, on eBay, does 1/12 water slide decals for these. So I ordered those. But just to give you an idea of the scale, there is a classified figure.
Nice.
So once I finish getting it all painted and getting the grass added to it, then I'm going to glue everything together to make it one solid piece. But I'm super excited and happy to add an actual Cobra bunker to my classified collection. That's check out Wes's other work in the Facebook group.
So having that in hand, how much, if Hasbro were to produce that, how much do you think it would be? Because that's a big piece of real estate.
It is, but it still doesn't use a lot. To me, I don't think it uses a lot of plastic. Most of the plastic is in the base.
It's not a lot of pieces either.
Yeah, and I would wonder if they'd even do the base if they were to put that out.
If they were to put a figure with it, I mean, I would pay $75 for it.
I didn't ask what you'd pay. I asked what you think they'd charge.
What I think Hasbro would pay. Considering the size, I think they would charge what they charge for the Vamp and the Stinger.
Well, we may or may not ever find out. All right. So as I said, I got kind of busy today and kind of forgot about Joe and Tell, but that's okay because I've got a whole stack of Reaction Plus figures just waiting to be opened up, and they just don't make the best full reviews all the time, and this one especially because I've got the reaction version of this figure, but it is a fancy. It's Cobra Commander Enemy Leader, and I like that they don't change the designation up. Like it's not Cobra Commander with cape. Like they don't change the title. They all just still say Cobra Commander Enemy Leader. But as you can see, the accessories listed on the side, just like they were back in the day, include scepter and cape. Really nice looking card art that has been, I believe the reaction figure had the same card art. But we also may think of this as 70s Boogie Cobra Commander. File card on the back, but nothing we haven't seen before. So let's open him up and check him out.
I also like that the pose on the cover is kind of reminds me of the Target lady played by Kristen Wiig on SNL. Yeah.
There's the exclusive variant. Target Lady Cobra Commander.
Yeah,
that would be the what do they call fall convention exclusive? What is the Target Geek Out? Target Geek Out, I think is the one that they do. It'd be a Geek Out exclusive. Oh, cape's nice and thick. I do like their soft goods are so odd because initially, like when you first look at them, they almost kind of look like they're just like Christmas ribbon or something. Like it doesn't look durable, but then you get your hands on it, and it feels nice. It's got that red lining in it. It's got a nice shine to it. Like it looks Cobra Commander capey. It looks appropriate for the guy. This one does have a ball jointed head, so that is a nice addition. All the joints are good. The plastic is great. I mean, these figures feel great, but every single time, and I hate having to repeat it, but not everybody sees everything I put out. I don't like the silver rivets. I wish they would switch to the color matching like they did on the Universal Monsters and the Back to the Future. The little Cobra emblems, the clasps on his cape are amazing. Little gold detail there, and they're actual little separate pieces. Like it's not just like a tampo. Looks great. He's actually in hand, I will say, because this was one of those, if you guys remember, I was four or six figures behind on these, and not buying like Arctic Snake Eyes or whatever. And then the FOMO hit me, and I ordered a bunch in one shot. I think Super 7 had it was either a free shipping or a buy 4, get 1 free or something like that. And this is one of the ones that I was less than enthusiastic about, but I got to say, this might be the best O-ring Cobra Commander, or my favorite. I'll say my favorite. Best is objective, but the cape is so good and so fun, and those just something about the little cape clasps looks so good.
Yeah. I was super excited to get that figure on the shelf because when Cobra Commander is such just like a bombastic, grandiose character, and none of the figures that they've ever made really do him that justice. But with that cape and that scepter and just putting him in that pose, that's the one I wanted.
Yeah, it's great. This is okay. Aside from the Cobra Commander. This is my new favorite Cobra Commander figure. That's awesome. Great job, Super 7. Just color those rivets, please. Put aside your personal incorrect aesthetic opinions and put some color in those rivets.
And as I said before, like they've done such a fantastic job matching the paint of the rivets on those Back to the Future figures that there's no reason they shouldn't be able to do the same thing for these figures, and it shouldn't increase production costs. I mean,
clearly it's a process they can manage.
Yeah.
So let's move it to Joe. I will deal with it. I will deal with these mismatched figures in my collection. I'll make that sacrifice if you'll just color those things. All right, that is all the show we got for you this week. Kristian, where can we find that toy photography you do so well?
You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky under the name Legion Cub.
And Noel, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Finest?
The Finest is an international G.I. Joe costuming club that raises money for our wonderful charity partner, Canines for Warriors. Check out thefinestcc.com or the Finest Recruitment Center on Facebook if you'd like to know more.
Our music is by Andy Samford of electricminnowmusic.com. Follow us on Instagram at Audible Interlude Podcast. Our next live stream right here on the Needless Things YouTube channel is February the 16th. Put it on your calendar. And until then, yo, Joe.